Well, thank you very much, Ian, for the introduction. This is a really interesting session that I'm very personally looking forward to very much. My own background has been in television since the late 1980s, but as it happens, shortly before that, I led a team developing a machine learning system in the test sphere. And at the time when computing was really quite difficult to get much power out of devices, we were trying to use Prolog-like languages to actually learn about behavior of test systems and to dynamically alter the way they behaved according to the results that were achieved. So it's interesting now to see that we've come on to the point where there's so much more power available, so much more that can be done, and I'm really looking forward to our trio of speakers this afternoon and then the chance to discuss things with them. So first of all, we start with Kip Schauer, who's the Global Head of Media and Entertainment, Google Cloud. Before Google, he spent 10 years at Aspera as the worldwide VP of Sales, growing it from a 10-person startup to a market leader. He ran diverse, vertically focused teams in media, cable and telco, intelligence and defense, retail and oil and gas. And looking through, I can see he's had extensive involvement in media activities and is a regular speaker at industry conferences in the media field. So I'd like to welcome Kip now on stage and look forward to his presentation.
All right. Thank you very much, and we're going to consolidate about an hour down to 7 minutes, so I'll go really quick. Thanks for everybody coming today. As we all know, media consumption's a la carte, right? It's everywhere. I want to be able to watch my video whether I'm on a subway or at a basketball game or I'm at IBC. The number of devices that we have now are just out of control. And what does that mean? It means we have to figure out how to use data and be able to personalize this content to get it delivered to the right phone at the right time when somebody wants to watch it. So that's kind of how Google looks at the media market. We're trying to solve these problems for people. 3 areas. We want smart content. What is in your content? We want to enhance the audience experience. And then we also, because we're Google, want to help the organizations that are creating this content deliver easier, quicker, faster. So the cloud, in terms of G Suite and collaboration, those are the 3 big areas that Google Media looks at. So we all know the live and video on demand streaming workflow. So I'm going to talk about a couple areas that we see machine learning really playing in this. Within the Google offerings, we have sort of an end-to-end SaaS that's called Envato, and then we are building modular APIs. And inside of the Envato, what I wanted to point out is there's one area where we have integrated machine learning already. So if you need to do transcriptions, be able to take the speech to text, we built it in. And one of the themes you'll hear with artificial intelligence or machine learning is it's not 100% yet today at all, right? So what we've done is we built it in. It's going to take that first pass, but then you can go and edit the text. And then when it's done, you can create and say, OK, that's what I want. That can create the captioning. But then we're also using our ML engine for translation, and then you can translate the text as well. So one really quick example within the Envato platform of where we actually have taken our own APIs and integrated them into one of the bigger applications. So the whole reference architecture, and I'm going to bounce right on to machine learning. So if you think about where in the media and entertainment workflow machine learning could be applied, these are just some of the areas we're really focused on. Automating QC, helping that with the captioning. I already talked about one area, we've already done it. Automated highlights with our Video Intelligence API, where it can capture those interesting scenes, quickly stitch them together, be able to have more highlights. People always ask me, machine learning is an interesting topic, like what happens to editors and all that kind of stuff. In my mind, all these tools are to help augment the amount of content that we're creating. So if I can create 10 times the number of highlights using some of them ML, most of them are still created by us, I think it allows us to have more content so you can monetize the amount of content you're generating quicker, faster, better. Metadata tagging, recommendation with personalization, that's tying in the data content, all the data you're collecting, and then running ML against that. And then video insights. So these are just a few of the areas that we see machine learning being applied. And as Google, we're not trying to do it all. We're trying to develop tools so that our partners, and you're going to hear from a few of them, can take these and do even more with them. So 3 specific ones and our APIs that attach to it. So metadata tagging, we have an API that's available today. So if anybody wants to try out the Google APIs, you can go to the Google Cloud, put in our machine learning API. So Video Intelligence API allows you to do metadata tagging. It's going to find events and items in your video. Cloud speech, that's what we're using for the speech to text. Cloud translation, obviously being able to translate. Sentiment analysis, not many people know about our natural language, so it'll actually be able to like monitor blogs, tell you if people are speaking positively or negatively about your content. And then automatic highlight creation I mentioned. So one of the other areas that I think is really interesting that we've started to work on, so a linear channel that's created off of video on demand content. So it's playing out live, but it's really pre-recorded content. Today, everybody can receive the content with this animation, right? I receive the same content that everybody else does. But if you think about where we could go with machine learning is, what if I could create that same live channel, but based on my preferences, I get different content. So that's where machine learning is, and different content, different ads are served up to me, even though it's still a live linear channel. Just another example of some interesting places we're looking at applying the machine learning. Cloud vision, so this is for stills. Anybody that's into needing to run ML on their images, Cloud Vision API will detect all of this different content. Quick customer that uses it, Box, right? Imagine the number of images that they have out there. If they have more metadata information about those pictures, when editors go to find their content, they're going to be able to find it better, they're going to be able to find more, be able to choose the image that they want. Cloud Video Intelligence API, for most of this audience, obviously, this is the one you're going to be most focused on. It can do the same thing as vision. It'll detect images, objects within the video. Typical, one example, using it for highlights where you run a whole series through it. It picks out the interesting pieces. It does not stitch it back together, but you could create an application that can do it. Things like enhanced monetization, being able to find content in the video and then being able to pull it out so that you can advertise that content to come to your customers. And then translate. So Vice is one of our customers. They actually, when they write the content, then they translate it so editors all around the world can continue to help edit the content. So then the last piece, and then I'm going to hand it off today, the MLT expertise, so data computation, using these APIs. You have to have people that are really focused on ML today. We're going towards what we call auto ML to help everybody train the models with their own content. So the Vision Auto ML API is out there today, which means if I have pictures and it's not doing a very good job, I can train the model, and then I'll have my own model, and it'll do a much better job on the content. Cloud Video Intelligence API doesn't have Auto ML yet, but it'll be coming soon. So with that, I'm going to turn it over, and I will be back up here for the panel. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Kip. It was a very interesting presentation, and looking forward to the discussion shortly. Next, we have Oleg Gubin, the Research and Development Director from Oxagile. As Chief R&D Officer at Oxagile, Oleg's responsible for pursuing innovation on all levels of product development and designing unconventional solutions to new business challenges. In his 5 years with the company, he's overseen dozens of video-related projects across OTT, live streaming, WebRTC, and VR domains. He's currently leading Oxagile's charge into machine learning-based technologies, applying machine learning and AI in areas such as video ingest, media asset management orchestration, and programmatic advertising. So Oleg, I'd like to welcome you.
Hello, thanks for coming. I am from Oxagile. We are experienced in video delivery solutions, and today we would like to talk about computer vision in deep content analysis, and we call it "It's Time for Deep Content Analysis" because I would like to show you a background why it's time, how industry is development, and what value it brings today for content owners and everybody who are in this industry. Okay, so artificial intelligence is not something, artificial intelligence is happening right now, and it's not something from the future. But when, naturally, when we are talking about computer vision, everybody from you could imagine something like that. And it's right, because people would like to use new technologies for primarily domain like military, security, safety, I don't know, self-driving cars, medicine. And here you can see that today everybody agrees that we teams like Oxagile all around the world can detect people's objects, make attribute classification, make analysis of behavior, make segmentation of scenes, and so on. But if we have those techniques and we have those skills, why we cannot apply that the same components, the same approaches to artistic content? So we can do the same and get you know, those behavior analysis, those attributes classification, and everything, scene segmentation for movies, for actors, and so on. And definitely that would bring some value in this media industry for all business directions. But before we will talk about that, let's see how on what pipelines we apply those techniques. So basically, here you can see that our police officers is interested in fighting detection. Our OTT user is interested in fighting detection, but from movie. The same is about cars accidents and car accidents and sport events. So the application, the components of detection is the same, but pipeline and targeted auditory is different. For sure, nowadays those OTT users would like, you know, to see real crashes and real fightings, but it's another story. So we can see right now, so that we can manage expectation about traditional high priority industries like military, security, medicine, safety, self-driving. That's usually apply those computer vision techniques to real time stream and real live stream, but move that into media entertainment and do the same for premium VODs, for event VODs, and some user-generated content. Okay, if we are talking about exact value of that, let's draw a simplified distribution pipeline. When content from production content coming from media set management to OTT and to final users, or OTT platforms could serve user-generated content to provide it through the same pipeline. Here you can see that those computer vision techniques could be applied at level of media set management, and the value is to reduce efforts and human expenses to do what they do daily today. So it's about quality assurance, it's about compliance, it's about ARC works preparation, sub-NAPAL preparation, and everything. So we can substitute hands activity to computer vision activities that could be done automatically. At OTT level, here we are talking about working with extended metadata that is generated not by somebody who produced content, but from real scenes, real emotions, real visual object inside the content. And if based on that we can make our features of OTT more attractive, more competitive, and definitely if we connect metadata with exact events of each user, it gives incredible possibilities in recommendation analytics and sometimes in ad services, but it's all related to revenue improvements. let's go shortly through some real cases. If we are talking about media asset management, just to understand what is actual quality assurance, we can automatically detect nudity for some regions, smoking, swear words. We can control packages when we make muxing, automatic muxing with different audio tracks, subtitlings, validate the text. For OTT, for example, that's a good case when we can process events VODs for series, for example, of races, and make a summarization of interesting events for auditory. Here, for example, you can see how ad insertion could be targeted based on not overall meta, but exact things that people see in the video player, and basically it could, yeah. There are another case that content could be searched not only by metadata that is that describe overall movie or clip, but exact scenes, exact objects, and the usage of the same content could be multiplied. Probably with poor implementation, it could give such results, but anyway. And finally, if, for example, we will talk about Tarantino movie, The Hateful Eight, now I'm sure that everybody agree that such metadata that we can generate around the movie is doable. And everybody who works in this industry could understand that it's a very powerful tool for recommendation and for improving OTT services. And I would finalize my speech with the statement that nowadays big players in the market, they have already started this activity, and next year it's going to be in tech stack or feature list of OTTs of middle and low sizes. And you can get prepared for that, and it's a great challenge for your marketing team, for product managers to think about how you can use such possibilities to improve your current products, your current services. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oleg. I'd like to introduce now Alfonso Pelletier, who's the CEO and founder at Epic Labs. Epic Labs is a software innovation center focusing on helping media companies to innovate, create new revenue streams and engagement models. The company is a member of Dash-IF and the Digital Production Partnership. And Alfonso's background is in telecommunications and obviously now highly into this area. So with no further ado, Alfonso, if you'd like to make your presentation.
Thanks for having me. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alfonso Pelletier from Epic Labs. I'm very happy to represent this awesome team. We're a fairly young company. We started operating around 3 years ago. We're a team of 27 software engineers, very focused into the media space. As Graham said, we have been working on helping broadcasters and media companies transition into the digital space, helping them move into the cloud and helping them generate revenue streams. Besides offering these services to our customers, we have been doing a lot of research in the last couple of years, very specifically to machine learning, and see how we could be applying all this incredible technology to the media space. So today we wanted to show you a very specific use case, which is how we could be using this amazing technology to help improve the quality of experience of our customers. This is something that we have been doing through our services, and now we have built a product that is allowing them to do this with a product that you can consume off the shelf. So we wanted to share with you our great passion which is really that this cannot happen. Thanks, Paul. you cannot be consuming an awesome content like the one that you're consuming right now, and you cannot have just that experience, right? And this is something that we're all very concerned in IBC, and especially here in Hall 14. I almost had an exit before video starts over there because the slide just took too much to pop up, right? When you're consuming premium content on a large screen, and you have paid for a great content, you're expecting great quality. You don't care if that content is getting to you through an IPTV or through an antenna. You're expecting that just to be great. It doesn't matter if it's going through a managed network. So we have been focusing all of our engineering efforts in terms of how we could be using machine learning to increase this quality of experience. We started getting smarter in terms of the industry standards for measuring quality out there. We have PSNR, which allows us to measure video-to-video or picture-to-picture, pixel-to-pixel differences. We have a structure similarity, which is a bit more complex. It also allows us to move to compare an area of pictures and also a frame to a frame, see how they are different, and then take the difference in terms of quality. And of course, we have VMAF from Netflix, which is not only a computational ratio or index, but also is taking into account user input in terms of is this a good quality or a bad quality. The problem that we're having with VMAF is that it's extremely slow to compute. That's why we created the LiveFlow Quality Index, which is an index that is mixing some of these industry algorithms that allows us to measure quality. For those of you who are interested in terms of measuring the quality, the perceptual quality of image, this is an internal effort that we have been pushing for several months now, and that we're looking forward to open source in the next months. So any of you who are interested, please stay tuned, because we'll be very happy to share these findings and hope for you to collaborate as well. So basically what we've done is that after we created this index, we built a neural network that we have trained with hundreds of thousands of hours of video. We're very fortunate when we're building this machine learning algorithm that we actually had a very, very large data set. As you know, when we're building a machine learning technology, you want to go through a deep learning process by which you're going to be able to push a lot of content, and in many occasions, you don't have that content that would allow you to train your neural network. Fortunately for all of us, we have a bunch of video out there with different types of quality, and we've been able to train that. As a result of that, we're happy to introduce LiveFlow, which is a product that it's extremely easy to consume and integrate in your workflow, and it allows leveraging all these machine learning algorithms that we built to increase the perceptual quality of the image that you're sending through your massive audiences. And we've been able to do that with releasing the same quality or even higher quality of images, reducing the bit rate of those streams that are being thrown to the internet. We've been able to do this in an average of around 35% bitrate reduction when we're doing this smart optimization per title, and we can do it per scene as well. These are some of the features that we're incorporating. So as you can see, we're taking into account for LiveFlow not only the content itself that we're analyzing to understand what's the best way to optimize it, but we're also taking into account what's your user base. So if you know your universe of users, you know if they're consuming a large format or a small format, we're able to optimize that content for them. Again, giving you reductions in terms of bitrate, you're going to have a lighter workflow all around. You're going to have less cost of storage, transcoding, delivery, while pushing a great quality of experience for your users. We have also enriched the engine with cognitive services. What we're doing is that we're using computer vision to understand not only what is happening within the bits that are flowing, but what is happening within the content. What is this content about? With this, we're enriching the metadata that is flowing with the stream. And this is allowing us to, for some interesting use cases, such as smart archiving, content moderation, auto-clipping, and things like this. If we also combine both technologies, the cognitive services, computer vision, and also how we can optimize, this is what is coming next. We're able to detect what are the most interesting areas of an image, specifically in this case for football, and then we can apply the smart optimization that we're doing, so we can spend a larger bit rate for those areas that are more interesting, and for those that are not, maybe like the people that it's sitting around, we can fade those or maybe spend less bits into those, therefore having as a result an overall bitrate reduction and bits quality. And this is an example of how we're able to track these users moving around and then applying the optimization for those areas. This is just a video that we shot this morning in our booth. With Lightful, we're proposing this UI. You have a comparator, so you can input two streams. You can move a type of a curtain, so you can actually compare pixel by pixel what's the quality. You can see those bitrate ladders, which you can see here on the top left, top right corner. What we're seeing here is two bitrate ladders. We see the quality index, Lightful quality index on the vertical axis, and then on horizontal we see the bitrate. So here we're comparing the two bitrate ladders that the industry is pushing as a standard with a lot of renditions. We're able to push less renditions with higher quality and less bitrates. As a result of that, those are the business benefits that we're getting. Overall, this is how we're measuring the quality of experience. We want to have less exit before video starts, less video start failures, less rebuffering events, less artifacts on the screen. We want the video ultimately to load fast with a great quality with no rebuffering events. So this is what we wanted to share, an example of how we've been applying machine learning technologies. This is a product that it's ready for you to consume off the shelf. If you want to know more about this, we're in A36 in this booth, so we'll be happy to show you a demo that we have it right over there. If you have some videos that you want to pass through the Lightful engine, we'll be happy to share those around. So many thanks for your time. Cheers.
Well, thank you very much, Alfonso. If you'd like to join, so I'd like to invite all speakers up on the stage now for this session. Well, thank you for your presentations, which I found really interesting and raised a number of answers, but also a number of questions raised. But thinking about some things, one that immediately comes to mind is, what is the balance, or is there a reason why media and entertainment companies would develop their own AI and machine learning infrastructure rather than going and making use of cloud facilities? Kip, you may like to.
Yeah, I could obviously. So machine learning, the horsepower behind it and the amount of compute time is significant. Google, based on our footprint, obviously we have a lot of compute that's available. And then we also recently, we use GPUs, but we also have created what are called TensorFlow processor units. These are compute chips designed to be able to process machine learning algorithms as fast as possible. So you're getting not only just scale with the number of compute nodes you can set up or GPU nodes you can set up, but now there's actually specific hardware to help process the machine learning even faster. So I think just the scale to run the machine learning algorithms, you definitely need a lot of scale, and I know Google and some of the other cloud offerings have it. So I think the resources needed will probably keep it at a cloud scale.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, or do you have a?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah. I think it also depends on the use case that you're building. I think if you're looking forward to have some functionality where you definitely need data that you don't have, go into a machine learning engine that it's already been trained, like the ones that Google is offering.
Yep.
I think it's great. I mean, Google has a bunch of data that all of us as consumers are proposing, and it's helping train that. If you want to build something specific, you can use TensorFlow as a good start, or any other algorithm that you would build yourself. You will need the data to train that. And in many occasions when we're building these models, for those to be effective and be accurate, you will definitely need that data. Another component, of course, is the total cost of ownership, right? Depending on how much power are you requesting, and if it's a peak or not, you might as well make an investment and have some computers on-prem. And depending on whether or not you're prototyping. When we're prototyping, we usually go to the cloud, pay as you go. It's OpEx. As you start having a bit more use of your infrastructure, you might as well make an investment and have those on-prem. And the other component is whether or not you want your assets to leave your data centers. In some occasions, we're seeing broadcasters who have made a lot of investments into the content itself, who are not eager to share or to take those assets out of their data center. Even though they might be secure and trustful, sometimes there is a bit of risk or fear more than risk.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I agree, because even we as developers, for sure, every developer has some GPU installed here in the office for every day. I don't know, doing those learning and everything. But when we finalize something and would like to make the final learning process, or process a lot of streams, or test some data, we go to the cloud. If we are talking about the businesses, when we are talking about real-time processing of multi-stream for broadcasters and everything, it's cost-effective to use cloud on demand rather than create own infrastructure and support that. So definitely clouds here, to use clouds make sense, and it's obvious.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Thinking about resources, another area of resources are skilled people, and obviously this is a very hot topic now. And one question is: are there enough people with experience and expertise to go round for everyone to recruit, or is there going to be a skill shortage and a rush to grab those people? Oleg, do you have?
Yeah, I would say that for today, for regular things, we have a lot of solution as provided, for example, by Google, or provided by another team that could be data sets that could be shared as open source. And those skills for doing some simple things today, specific skills are not required, just some practical things, how to set up network. But if we're talking about some innovation in network architectures, some innovation in computer vision filtration or additional logic, here definitely in Oxagile we apply to people with math backgrounds primarily, and yeah, trying to put our resources to find those people, to raise probably those math background, to make raise an interest in mathematician of doing deep learning.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel there are enough domain-specific experts available in your part of the industry so that they can actually come in, not just to people working with the systems that are doing machine learning, but actually beginning to say, well, actually, here are the things that we'd like to consider as elements that might form part of the training pattern? Which means understanding the media, what the media is really, and
yeah, for sure. But I'm not talking about that, because we are in video processing for 13 years, so that's why we don't need any specific resources. So it's in our regular activity to work with video, codecs, formats, and everything. And machine learning is pretty new, so that's why there are no experts with 10 years experience of deep learning, for example. But computer vision itself without deep learning, it's some old thing. And definitely there are sometimes we meet some experts with good knowledge of filtration of computer vision with digital signal processing, without applying those deep learning, and be really can take advantage from such people.
Alfonso, would you go along with that, or?
I think at least for us at Epic, we're not really seeing the bottleneck on the talent. I think we're fortunate to be in the Madrid area, which is surrounded by great technical universities, and we're happy to see a lot of talent flow in and joining Epic. For us, when we're seeing the bottleneck is maybe not on the skill set specifically, but maybe in terms of how the teams are built. Machine learning, it's an amazing technology, and once you see a demo, it really hooks you, because you can see how computer vision works, and you can see a machine that it's really understanding what's on the image, and it can tell you what type of objects are there. And from a technical perspective, that's really exciting. Yeah. And then on the other side, you have the business guys who might come with a crazy idea, and they think that machine learning can solve anything. When we've seen the use cases really go forward is when we've been able to join both teams. We've gone into a very interesting project with Fox out here in Europe to help them with content moderation for Russia. They have very heavy compliance there in terms of having people or having images of people drinking or smoking at certain areas, and they were having a lot of issues from the regulatory, and they were paying a lot of fines. we're able to work with them hand in hand, getting the business input, what was really needed, and then joining the Epic engineers and being able to create something that was actually effective for the business, and that you were able to build a business case on top of that, because at the end of the day, machine learning can be great and can be very, very exciting, but you need to have a business model behind that it's able to, you'll need a return on investment because you need to invest on doing this.
Yeah. So Kip, I guess you come to this from a different point of view, because obviously there are huge resources in general behind you, but I don't know, perhaps not in this particular area.
Yeah, it's really interesting as I was thinking about the question. So I kind of see it in two ways. We have the experts in the machine learning, right? The engineers developing the base tools. And since last year when I was on a panel like this to today, we've actually then taken those tools and added product management to help drive the tools into media. So in the past it was, hey, let's train the models, let's create these tools, and then kind of off they went, and let's see where they are. But now we're starting to put more focus on media so that the people building the tools are getting more direction from the media teams and customers feeding it back in. So I'm seeing that from you have the engineering develop the basic tools, bringing in that layer to help the tools get customized over for the media industry. But just numbers of people to focus it on the different areas, that's always a challenge, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too, I guess a lot of the machine learning is we're looking at the ingest end at the front end, and there's been some discussion about actually learning about what's attractive at the other end, but I guess there are all sorts of interesting contextual things to do with people who are watching content as to the time of day, the location, or the type of device they may be watching on, all of which will change some of what you might learn. Is that in the mix now, or is that still too fine detail?
I think it's still conceptual. A lot of it's conceptual, and what I'm seeing here is companies like these gentlemen have created that are starting to take pieces of it. But if you think about, can we collect all the data and then apply it in with machine learning to know where everybody is, what's going on, what they're watching, what type of content they like, and be able to continue to feed that in. That's really where it's all going, and everybody has their own piece of it, and it's coming together, I think. And machine learning behind it is just helping us have more information about the content, about the person, so that hopefully they consume the content that they want to see at that time.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, so definitely we became to machine learning from regular video domain solutions like streaming, OTT, media set management. So it was a natural way to use those components on top of everything, rather than started with that and then try to apply it somewhere. So that's by seeing these demands, we started extend our teams with such skills and do it, integrate that, and that's on top of every component that's mentioned. Yeah, because those components are already in our pipelines that we are using for customers.
So you'd agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you mentioned something very interesting, Annie, which is that when we're approaching a customer and the customer is saying, I want machine learning, for us, that's a good way to qualify that as not a good opportunity for us, because we don't want to hear, or for us, a customer saying that I want machine learning, that really doesn't make sense. We really need to apply machine learning to a very specific business case. So for us, we stop talking about machine learning or putting in our slides that we're doing machine learning, because then we'll say, well, I want machine learning. We really want to understand what are their business needs, if they want to create a new engagement model, or maybe they want to reduce cost on their operations. And then we have machine learning on our toolkit, as if we had a cloud or a virtualization, or any other technologies that are available.
Yeah. Right, so going on from that, if we're thinking about going into the future, then I'd be interested to get your views, each of you, on what we might see in the application of machine learning in 5 years' time. How widely it will be used? What might it be doing that it isn't at the moment? And what areas might it get into that perhaps it's a bit of a long shot for them to get into, but they could be in?
Yeah, no, that's a hard one. I don't know if I would be sharing that one if I knew it. I think maybe a trend that we have seen on the past years, and that I think it can be boosted by machine learning, it's what it's called. Well, it's personalization of the content, right? So 15 years ago, we're just watching a linear channel over radio frequency that was pushed to our TV. Right now, you have YouTube, and you have Netflix, and you have Choice, and our kids, they don't really understand what's a linear channel. They want to consume a specific content at a specific time. So we're getting to that personalization. I think machine learning, which is a trend, I think what machine learning might do for that specific item is actually boost it and go into what some people talk about, hyper-personalization, which is and go to the long tail content. So right now we're able to do auto clipping of a football game. So maybe I don't want to watch 90 minutes of a football game. Maybe I just want to watch the highlights where only my team is attacking, and even for this specific player. Or maybe I want to see a summary of the game. Everybody wants to watch Cristiano Ronaldo's summary, and he might be able to push it through Twitter, and maybe he's got 8 million followers. But you might as well create new clips for second division players, which maybe they add up to 20 million viewers. So you can, towards that hyper personalization, you can create very, very specific content. You can do it right now. But the problem right now is that it's just not cost effective, because you have to go and cut and edit every single video to then push it. But machine learning potentially can allow you to do that cost effectively. Yeah. So I think that's an area where I think machine learning could be boosting that trend towards personalization.
Yeah, I completely agree. So in 5 years, for sure, a lot of people who do typical job can lose it because computer vision system can substitute that. But if we are talking about video entertainment, OTT platforms, I'm as a user of the platform, don't want to choose content. Nowadays, I spend a lot of time to choose what to see. I would like to come back to linear video. I would like machine to show me continuous content that I will like because of my mood, because of I don't know, because of mood of the content, because of weather. I don't know how, but definitely it will happen. So everybody will have personalized live TV that will include everything that you are interested in, and you will enjoy that. So spending time not to select, to see, to read overviews and see comments or see stars about the content, but just see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where that virtual live linear, that a couple slides I had, you can create it, but eventually 2 years, 5 years, who knows, everybody could have their own personal live linear channels that machine learning's helping in the background. I just think we're still at this very early stage of machine learning. I think every year that we come here for the next 5 years, we're going to be blown away by what everybody does to take the tools and go and customize them and build them, right? I think it also, the content that now we can watch and consume is just going to continue to expand. So if you are doing something that's kind of off the beaten path or whatever, having your own channel now will be reality, and more people can watch it and find it, and all that stuff is going to be helped by machine learning in terms of the discovery process.
Yeah. Right, well, thank you, Kip. Well, we've got just 2 minutes left, so just one last question, and perhaps each of you could just answer reasonably briefly. Looking into the real blue skies thing, what are the prospects, or is there any possibility or chance of the machine learning, artificial intelligence actually becoming independently creative within this media space?
Independently, I'm sorry?
Independently creative.
Yeah, so I'll take it first really quick. I mean, I've seen where I hosted a panel like this at SMPTE, and taking the pictures that the cars drive around, the Google cars take around, they had trained the model to look at imagery and what does it take to take a picture that's not shot well and turn it into more of a professional looking shot. So I have seen areas where machine learning, you're training machine learning what to look at, what makes it interesting, and then it'll take it from there and turn it into a good shot. So I think the models are starting to train themselves, and yes, it could get scary, but I think also a lot of new technology is always scary at the beginning, and I think machine learning will help us overall just become more efficient.
Yeah. Oleg?
Yeah, I don't think that the neural networks would create new neural networks and something like about something from movies, you know, that we've seen, because probably developers are not able to understand how to, you know, put such code into the software. But definitely they will be so sophisticated, and nowadays, even if we're talking about generative adversarial neural networks that can understand the difference between, you know, artwork and real life, for example, and make processing of those our views and images and videos and transfers to different, you know, different condition. So definitely it's something creative. So I believe that's a lot of fun we will get with machine learning components very soon.
Well, thank you very much. I think we're out of time now, but I'd like to thank my panel very much for their contributions, which I found really interesting, and I hope you'll join with me in thanking them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. We've got a couple of minutes if anyone has any burning questions from the show floor here. Do we have any questions? Everyone's very shy. Very shy. So all of our panelists have stands here in Hall 14. If you want a quiet little word with them, check out the mobile app, find out where their stand is, and go and track them down. I'm sure they'd be delighted to either show you stuff or talk to you. So thank you again, all three panelists and Graham for moderating. Thank you.
Thanks for the invite. Thank you.